Welcome to the Millionaire Journey Podcast. The goal of this podcast is to guide and empower you on your journey towards financial independence. Here's your host, Glenn Yaney.
Today, my guest is Derek Vickers with Vicktory Capital. Welcome, Derek.
Glenn, what's up, man?
Super excited to have you on. I've been looking forward to it today. We met in person for the first time at the Mobile Home Expo and thought it would be great to get you on to catch up with what you're doing operationally.
Yeah, for sure, man. For sure. Happy to catch up. Was good to meet in person. I know we've talked on the phone a million times and text, and I was on this show a while back, but definitely it was good to see you, man.
Yeah, I feel like I kind of talk about you as a local competitor, but I don't feel like we compete. We're just the only two guys that are buying the parks that nobody wants to buy.
Yeah.
And
I agree
it's
with that. I agree with that.
who wants to take their lickings today is really what happens is, we're buying pretty rundown parks, but obviously we're trying to make them into great parks again and trying to make them into easy to manage parks is the idea. So
Yeah, we're making Florida trailer parks great again, I mean,
yeah,
we're gluttons for punishment, I mean, it's like, these parks, I like buying the rundown ones. Like, you're never going to turn it into a 5-star community. It's just not going to happen.
yeah,
But it's not, right? But you can still make the place clean, you can make it safe, and it's still affordable
yes,
living, which people need. And I think, people, especially some of the municipalities and things, they come in, and just because they wouldn't live there, they think it's a dump, no matter what you do to it. And but that's not the reality. People need a place to live, and if we can make it, cleaner and safer for them, I think that's a win-win-win for everybody, really.
yeah, definitely. When I go into the parks, I always think to myself, like, am I embarrassed to be in this park, or is this something I'd be proud of? And I kind of, when you first start them, you kind of understand that it's going to be messy, but you know, trying to have that vision with all the people you work with is another, I had my lawn guy on the phone. I talked to him for like 30 minutes today. I was like, look, I know you think you're managing or you're mowing mobile home parks, but I was like, if you go into a 55 plus community, just know there's no trash anywhere.
Yeah.
So it's like, how do we make it like that? I was like, and I know it can be done because it's in every 55 plus community is a perfect community. So it's like, how do you get it to that level? And I think it can be done. Like, I don't think it's unrealistic. So
Yeah, I mean, look, I think you can get them, like, we've done a great job at getting stuff clean. Like, we put these new cameras in there that, like,
oh yeah,
really helps. And
yeah,
I was in the park the other day, and I hadn't really seen the cameras in action. And then I went there and I'm walking, and the freaking camera is following me. I'm like, dude, Paul, like, this is crazy. Like, no wonder the parks look clean, dude, because a lot of people put up the fake cameras, and I
yeah,
think our the people that go through the park, they come up and then they see the camera like following them, like like one of those in the Matrix, like one of those little
yeah.
I don't know what you're calling it, but and people, like, they take note of that, and they're like, okay, we're gonna clean up, because they're gonna see it.
Yeah, also, it's amazing how many mattresses come out of, every week. It's a new mattress that you're dealing with at every park.
Yeah.
But we just installed a bunch of cameras as well, and we had one going through eviction, and they knew the camera was there, and they said a few things to us through the camera. And
Wow.
my office manager deals with that. She manages it, so she gives me the highlights of it. So
Yeah, yeah, it's fun stuff, dude. There's always something, dude. I mean, the operations is the operations. Once you learn it and get good at it, like, it is what it is. I mean, there's just so many different aspects of the business. Capital raising, asset management, and operations. Like, there's a lot. And this isn't like office or apartments. Like, there you can't find a good third party management company. I'm sure there are some, but they're not everywhere. So you
yeah,
have to figure it out and build it out yourself. And it's difficult. Like, it's not easy.
they're definitely not going to be a value add third party property manager.
Correct. That's a good point.
you get them stabilized, you could probably hand them off to somebody, and that's what we're trying to, somebody that wants to buy it, they look at it and say, okay, I can manage this. That's the kind of park I want to sell. But the parks we're buying are generally a little messy. So
Yeah, for sure.
cool. So there's a few things, we met probably about in person a couple weeks ago. So you kind of get to know the person a little bit better. And the one thing I always thought that we were on the same page, but I really felt like after we met, I was like, Derek is on a whole nother level. And I I just sensed like operationally, you can count units or whatever. It's like I just know that Derek is an executor. Like he's gonna go in, has a system ready to go, and I mean, yeah, there's gonna be always a mess to deal with, and you know, staff to maybe wrong hires, but at the same time, it's like the one thing I noticed that I was like, man, Derek is gonna have you know he's working on raising a fund, but I would say you're going to have over 1,000 to 2,000 units in your wheelhouse under your management pretty soon. So
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure. I mean, and the thing with the system, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that, by the way.
yeah,
And none of that, like, all that was learned through like a lot of trial and error and a lot of like doing stuff wrong. Now learning how to do stuff right. Like I was talking to a big investor the other day, and he was having me explain like, hey, what's your operations look like, and how has that changed? And I was just explaining the systems that we have, and I just had a cognition. I'm like, wow, like we have some really good systems now to where a lot of the things where operators go wrong, we have checks and balances in place to fix to prevent that stuff from happening. Is because the reason why that stuff's there is because the stuff happened. Like,
yeah, yeah,
the contractor stole from you, the property manager stole from you, and like now I have a good system to where I can prevent that. I mean, I don't think anything's 100% bulletproof, but we're pretty damn
no,
close. Um, and it's just through that, and then learning how to execute, business plans properly, because, closing a bunch of parks really fast, like I did, and, trying stuff different ways. Some stuff worked, some stuff didn't work. And, it was just kind of finding like hey, this worked the best, with you know how when people, oh yeah, in hindsight, I would have done this. Well, this is just like okay, lots of hindsight. Now we can actually do this thing
yeah.
even better this time around. You know what I mean?
I can relate for sure. And that as I was, I would, what I was, when I was meeting with you, I remember thinking to myself, I was like telling you my ideas, and you were like looking at me like, you're like kind of like looking at me like I've been there and I know what you're doing. Probably should go the other direction, or maybe try it a little bit differently next time. And I was thinking about like kind of like how you were kind of raised in the mobile home world as you were working with really great operators, and I think that's such a huge thing because for me, I kind of self-taught, worked around other operators, but not anybody that was really raising capital and stuff like that. So it's pretty much self-taught through how to manage a mobile home park if you were like maybe not raising capital.
Sure.
The longer I manage these parks, I understand the value, like what actually to how to avoid those mistakes. But with what watching you, I've always thought to myself that you're kind of like prepared to move to the next level, pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think too, it's like, yeah, I think, having good mentors and things
Yeah,
like that is very important. And you could have a mentor that you think is a good mentor, but then down the road you're like, okay, well, I found something else, and I'm actually like, it's not a next level kind of thing. So you have to look at one thing I learned from Grant Cardone that's been like a stable piece of information for me, like never take information from someone that's not in a position that you want to be in, or doesn't operate
exactly.
their business as professionally as you want to operate it, or anything like that. Like I told you I was getting a haircut before this, and these fucking guys are like, oh, well, you need to do this in the gym. You need to do this in the gym. And I'm like, hey, I do like burpees and this stuff. And they're, oh, yeah, burpees just cardio. I'm like, dude, you're like 25% body fat. I'm 9%, bro. So who's got the better data here? You know what I mean? But
Yeah,
but that's
yep,
like, like taking advice from the fat doctor, taking advice from, you know what I mean? Just like you got to get your information from someone that's actually in a position that you want to be in. Like you're not going to take, Glenn, are you going to take marriage advice from someone that's been divorced 3 times?
Yeah.
No,
No.
you're not. So I think that back to what you were talking about, I think that piece of information has always been um, super valuable for me. And I don't accept information from people that aren't in a better position than me or where I want to be.
Yeah, and I would also add to that is it becomes more of a not like a lonely place. They say being on the top of the mountain becomes a lonely place. There's like some type of saying like that. And it turns in, but I can tell you that you kind of have that you can turn off you get better at turning off the information. You're like, whatever this person's saying doesn't matter. Like, let's just ignore whatever that person just said. But when you're growing, you're like, just getting started, there's a lot of people doing better than you. Then you start to become the person that's doing better than a lot of people around you. But at the same time, you're looking for that next person. And that's always been a hurdle, just trying to figure out the next right path for sure.
Yeah, yeah, and that's so true. Like I think that's a great point that you brought up. That like when you are starting, there's a lot of people doing better than you. But I think if you can frame in your mind like, hey, I want to be like this person. I'm not going to take advice from the guy who's got who doesn't want to. He's not where I want to be. Yes, he's further than me now, but I don't want to be that. I want to be this guy who's got 10,000 lots and worth whatever, right? So then I'll, actually listen and take advice from that guy. And you said something else interesting, like you're talking about, I think you said it was lonely at the top. Dude, when you're an
Yeah.
entrepreneur, dude, I mean, it's lonely. Like, let's be
Yeah.
real. Like, it's
Yeah.
lonely. And like, it's interesting because there's a lot of pain involved in it, but like, so yesterday, like this was a perfect example of this. And I actually thought about this last night. It's like, hey, you're going through stuff, you're trying to figure stuff out. There's stress, like there's uncertainty. You don't know what you're doing. We're starting a fund right now. I have no idea what I'm doing. But we're figuring it out. I have the right people and like the right kind of things to look at to do it correctly. But it was at a point where I was like, man, I had a great day today, and just a lot of shit happened in a good way. But for the last week, it's like, but that feeling is like why I love being an entrepreneur, because it's like, wow, we're moving, we're pushing the envelope, we're getting to the next level. Like, hey, we're going to make a massive jump this year. And just,
Yeah.
sometimes like the light at the end of the tunnel is very dim. And then sometimes the light at the end of the tunnel is very bright. And as an entrepreneur, you're just going to have to learn how to deal with being lonely, deal with being stressful. And like, there's a guy in the insurance business that always taught this guy, this was a great piece of data. Like this was a guy that I was listening to at the time because he was ahead of me and I wanted to be there. Maybe not the
Yeah.
right person to get information on from, but I was still like able to piece it. This is one good piece of data he gave me. Like, don't ride the highs too high. Don't ride the lows too low. And, it's easy to get caught in that. Like when shit's going bad, you're like, oh my God, it's hell, which it can be. And when things are going good, like you think they're going too good, but just kind of like staying even keel in that situation, I think is better, because as an entrepreneur, you're going to, most of your days aren't going to be that great. I mean, let's be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah. I was thinking about what you were talking about, the light being like wide open and then being small. And I would say that same feeling could happen in the same day, same hour. You'd be
Totally.
like, I was on top of the world, then I heard this other thing that came up, then you're just like, just, and
Yeah. And I've tried to like, I'm always trying to get better, like whatever,
yeah, yeah,
like whatever. I'm always trying to get better. And so I'm like trying to frame, like, instead of thinking in like black and white, that like, okay, you say something is bad. Oh my God, it's so bad. It's not necessarily bad, right? Like you can look at it from a different perspective to say, okay, well, so for me, a lot of times it's like, oh my God, I feel like I should be a lot further ahead. I'm a failure, right? So that's super black and white. But I'm like, okay, well,
yeah,
let's take a step back and look at this actually. Like, hey, you're actually here. You've done this, you've grown this, and you've done this, and you started like blah, blah, blah. You're like, okay, yeah, you're right. But you get what I'm saying, right? Like
Yeah. Oh yeah.
it's not just all bad, you know?
I could tell you, yet like even yesterday, I was kind of thinking because of the way that I am in my opinion, my growth phase. It's kind of like you have to stabilize. We almost doubled in size last year, so I've been really trying to focus on operations and trying to really get it down because I don't think there's any use of growing any further unless I have my current portfolio stabilized. I was like, well, if I can't make money on 650 units, then I should not be buying any more properties. So my main focus for this year is to been like just really focus, get properties making money, and you know, work through the capex and all this stuff, and really hone into really building the platform to grow to the next level. And what that looks like, you know, we'll see. But until stabilization is hit, it's but I can tell you it's boring. You know, I'm sifting through P&L statements. I'm going through line items and expenses, figuring out why there's a discrepancy of $2,000 of water chargebacks compared to what it should be normally. And it's like you're going through and you're just, it's almost like you're annoying your office, but at the same time, you're like, okay, look, we got to figure out why this should never happen again. Why are we doing this? And why, you know, $2,000 every month is, you know,
That's $24,000 a
$24,000.
year. Put a six with a six cap. Like, what is that? It's a big fucking
Uh,
number. Like, you should
it's a
be
huge
annoying
gap.
the office, right?
Exactly. Yeah,
And
exactly.
that's what people understand. It's like, oh, it's only this. I mean, the property's making this, but yeah, apply a six cap to that. You know, it's big money.
Yeah.
It's
And
real
then
money.
and unfortunately, we could all say, oh, well, this just happened and it's okay. But when you go to sell the property, they're going to beat you over the head. Why is this happening? And this is the real number. So we can't really go back and change it.
Correct.
So it's so important to stay on top of it. So I'm just trying to build systems in place to really keep control of expenses and recurring expenses and how we manage it. You know, that's been what I've been doing for the past like 3 to 4 months, trying to hone into that, you know?
Yeah, and I think that's important for people to know because like that's even the small things. Like literally, like before I got on this call, I'm on the phone with Bank of America bitching to them about 6 wire transfer fee charges, $15 charges. I'm like, I'm not fucking paying that. Like, I'm not paying that. That is ridiculous.
How'd that go? How'd that
I
conversation
got
go?
them all taken off, dude. I got them all taken ooff. So, yeah, I was just like, I'm not paying them. I keep a lot of money with you guys, so like,
Yeah.
I'm not paying that. And I think the point of me bringing that up is that, and griping to your staff about that, like, yeah, it's only $15. Some would say it's only $60, but how you do that is how you're going to do something else. So if you don't give a shit about that, you're just like, oh yeah, screw it, it's $60. But it's not
Yeah.
only that; it's kind of like personal integrity almost. To like, hey, I know I should do this. I know I shouldn't do this, but I don't do it. That's kind of a violation, you know?
Yeah. And really, as I was thinking about scaling and what you were talking about growing, it's like you're literally all we're trying to do is just figure out where the holes are. Stealing, generally, it's stealing time,
Mm,
stealing services. You know, you've got a guy that might have said he mowed the yard on this day, but he didn't come and cut it. You know, you're just like really digging down to figure out what is, you know, what are we missing here and why, like, how come we're paying for this, so we need to get the same quality that, you know, that you would expect if you were paying for it, you know? So like I had the conversation with the lawn guy. We were charged for 2 cuts, and it was like we didn't, I mean, he didn't cut it. And I was just like, well, then that means you're stealing from me right now, you
that's
know?
right.
And so
That's right. And I would almost
and it's
look
like
at it like that. Like, would you let
100%
like
stealing.
if you because I know people that aren't like that, right? To me, Bank of America was stealing $60 from me.
100%. And what's $60? It's a steak dinner.
Maybe. Depends on where you go.
Yeah.
Depends on where you go. But yeah, dude, totally. Totally. It's like me going to get a salad for dinner, bro, or something. And yeah, I think you should look at it like that for sure.
Hey guys, if you want to learn more about our deals we're investing in, go to our website and sign up for our free ebook, 10 Reasons Mobile Home Parks Outperform Other Real Estate Investments. We won't spam you. We'll just keep you updated on the podcast and the deals we're working on. Now, back to the show. So let's talk about your fund and your goals for this fund. I think it's pretty exciting. I'm excited to watch you do it. So what are you trying to do?
Yeah, so we're not trying to do it. We're not
Oh, sorry.
we're not
Bad
trying to do it.
words.
So it's a $10 million fund. It's going to be capped at 20. We have the option to expand it to 20 as we've gotten commitments already for it. It's for accredited investors only, and we're going to be buying mobile home parks, value-add mobile home parks in the Sun Belt states, mainly Florida, Arizona, which we've already got deals under contract there, and Texas is really where we're looking. If we can pick something off in the Carolinas, we're going to take it, but we like to be around an MSA of 1 million plus. So, like we like to be within 20 or 30 minutes of that, and even larger. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to go in and buy value add mobile home parks. And yeah, really, I mean, look, when you do this, it's really, we're taking an asset, as we talked about in the beginning, that has been mismanaged. It hasn't been taken care of. It's an eyesore for the community, and we're lifting that up, giving people a clean and safe place to live, and we're giving outsized returns to investors. And we're going to do well on it too. I mean, so it's a win-win-win-win-win situation, and that's what we're going to do. And I mean, I think it's going to be fun. It's going to be great. And I think there's going to be some opportunities coming up here within the next year. We'll start to see more opportunities, and that's what we're doing with VC Equity Fund 1.
Awesome. So let's talk about like the big question I'm sure everyone asks you. So you're in Florida, you're moving your operations to Texas and Arizona. How do you get started? Like how do you get a foothold in operations in those locations?
Yeah, so it's the same way as you would anywhere else. So like we experimented with this on the last couple of properties. It's like, hey, let's see if we can just operate it remotely. Like I'm not going to go, even though I'm down the road. And, Paul's not going to go. So, like, let's see if we can do this. And we were able to do it successfully because we have the systems. And this is a value add project, too, where we have to sell homes. We got to deal with contractors. We have to do all that. But, like, we have the systems with the contract or with the contractors and things like that, if we have an on-site property manager, like they don't have to do much and we don't give them a lot of power, but they're coordinating with the corporate office in order to, get multiple bids, get pictures, make sure people are doing work. They're showing homes. They're doing all this stuff. And so you just repeat that in another area. Now, in the first couple weeks in these areas, we'll go out there and probably be poking around at the property and just getting things set up and lined up. But, I think I had a limiting belief for the last 4 years, like, oh my God, there's no way I can buy these in another state. I don't know where I got that from. It was just probably made up. But I probably lost a lot of opportunities that I could have gotten cheap in other states because I was like reluctant to do that. I can just get on a fucking plane and go out there. Right. And okay. It gives me more. I want to get a private jet maybe one day, like Sam. You ever read
Yeah.
Sam Walton's book? He got this little he bought this little it was like a little, not like a G7 or anything like that. It was like a little like 2-seater plane where he could go out and look at basically development areas for Walmart stores, right?
Yeah.
So like whatever, right? But it's just a plane ride out there where you can get it. And if you have the systems, you can figure it out. If you're buying your first park and it's a 6-hour plane ride away, and it's heavy value add, I wouldn't do it. Like
Yeah.
that's tough. That would be tough. Imagine,
Well, your first park for sure. You already
imagine,
kind of have the office to kind of manage it as well.
yeah, imagine
There's a lot of
Evergreen.
headaches that are.
Imagine
I think that.
Evergreen living in
Yeah.
Nevada. Ain't happening.
Wouldn't we're not I'm not touching it, and it's down the street from me, so so yeah, so I think the good thing about the office, and this is kind of how I treat it also, is just that the office is somewhat of a filter. It would be too much for one person to come in and just be able to handle every fire, but when you have the office that can kind of manage the incoming stuff that they already know the answers, and then the stuff that might have bigger problems, they would come up to you, is really what it would turn into. It's kind of probably how you're managing it.
Correct. We have like an escalation process. So like we
Yeah.
have a list of things that don't need to be escalated, and we have policies, like written company policy that says, hey, you handle it this way. This is the standard way of handling. And then there's a level of escalation that would go to Paul, and then there's a level of escalation that would go to me. The same thing with approving bids and things. Like our team will basically give what we call it's called a CSW, basically, where they're like, hey, here's my 3 bids. This is the situation that's going on. Here's what it's going to take to fix it. I think we should go with contractor B because of X, Y, and Z, right? Okay, boom. Paul approves that. If it's 10 grand, I'm going to have to get in and approve it. But we've trained the staff to do the research and the work properly in order to obviously get the correct work done and not let anyone steal from us.
Yeah,
Because
that's the biggest part.
that's the biggest part is keeping the contractors from stealing from you, and keeping I'm telling you, these every park owner, all the ones that I have under contract, the ones I just closed, they have the best effing property manager in the world. And then as soon as I get in there,
They,
because they get creative, they get creative. And they find ways to make extra money. Like they do.
yeah, it's hard to, and it's old thinking generally. You can't really operate the same way it was being operated before.
No, you can't. And, unfortunately, it's, you have to pay attention. You have to pay attention, and you can't just be completely until you have the systems. You can't
Yep.
rely on the managers to do everything, especially the ones that live in the park, because they have so much vested in the park. Once you get a manager, like a regional manager that's detached, that doesn't live in the park, you pay them 80 grand a year. So you're paying them well, benefits and things. They're on your team.
Yes.
The original property manager that's lived at the damn park
No.
for 8 years ain't on your team. They ain't on your
No.
team. They'll say they're on your team, but they're not.
It's a cash grab. It's a cash grab when you take over. They're like, "How do I get as much as I can right now?" Because they're,
Yeah,
they already know. They see
correct.
the writing on the wall.
And then with us, they learn that damn, this is gonna be hard. This is gonna be hard to do. I don't know
Well,
if I'm
this
gonna
guy's
do this.
dealt with us before.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna do this, because they, and they can be a great property manager, but if their husband can do some handiwork, I'll say, hey, yeah, hey, Johnny can go fix it really quick for $500. Oh yeah, sure, just go fix it, right? Oh sure, just go fix it. They make 100 here, 100 there, 200 there. Before you know it, they stole 5 grand from you that month.
Yeah. Well, every park manager we've take on has an opportunity to make money, and like as in a good way, not stealing. But unfortunately, I think the mentality of how, unfortunately, how they got into the park they're in is through I'm going to take what's mine and not take care of the person that's going to pay me.
Yeah,
And I think that's the big hurdle. And you're like, you wish you were just like, how do we just change their way of thinking? And unfortunately, it's probably fixed ideas that they can't change.
yeah, it's
So
fixed. It's fixed. I mean,
yeah,
now let me ask you this: do you guys have any original park managers working for you right now?
nope,
Yeah, exactly.
nope.
Exactly. When
Yeah, we had a couple that moved up the ranks, and then it turned into where it almost like you wanted to give them the benefit of growth with the company. They started with you when you were real small, and then it turned into you're repeating yourself way too much, and you can't get past hey, this is the fourth time I've said this, and I really don't want to talk about it again.
Yeah,
So
yeah, exactly, exactly. And my COO now, he oh yeah, we got this manager. I think she's really great. I think she's gonna keep around. I'm like, she's not gonna work. I know she's not gonna work, because I've never kept a property manager ever, never. And there's probably been that's actually been inherited with a property manager a lot, and none of them have ever
oh.
worked out. None of them.
Did I tell you? I don't know if I told you the story about the one property manager that told me they couldn't get internet at their park. And she's like, well, they're not going to be able to pay on the internet because we don't have internet at this park. And I was like, no way. Really? And she's like, yeah, we've tried to get internet out here. We don't have it. And I'm like, okay. So I actually believed her. And
Mm-hmm.
then I start calling the local internet providers, and you get like nowhere with those people because they're like, they
Yeah.
want to install like into subdivisions, not like a
Yeah.
25 unit mobile home park. And before you knew it, everybody was paying on the internet, and it just fixed its problem. So it was like that was one of the examples of like, hold on, what? No internet? You guys, how do you guys live? You have no internet?
Yeah. 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 Look, I mean, yeah, I'm so jaded. I'm so jaded, and it's like I just proved myself right, but maybe I'm just proving myself right because that's my, affirmation I have in my head that none of them work out. Like I talk to guys, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we just kept the old property manager." I'm like, "Dude, you must just not do anything and run it like a shithole still," because I just find like when you put order into something, there's going to be confusion blow off. And confusion can be in the form of mad tenants. It can be in the form of just stuff like just confusion. Oh my God, this happened. Right. And that's just what happens when you put order in. And so what you have to do is you got to put more order in. And every time you put more order in, the confusion blows off. And a lot of times the confusion is the old property manager that's gone. So I don't know. Maybe somebody
It
can.
generally stops once you're like, okay, we just have to get rid of this property manager. Then it turns into where they stop talking to the property manager and they start calling into the office. And then the office kind of straightens out the problem. And they're like, can you believe this is what she was telling them? And they were like taking it as, or it would be like a reason for them to not pay rent, or the rent was going to the park manager. And you would try like tell them every time, don't give the money to the park manager. You pay rent online, or you go to 7-Eleven or whatever you can with walk-in payment system. And we have delinquency issues constantly through the park manager. Then we get rid of the park manager, and then it's clear
Oh, you're
communication of
100% collected. Wow.
Yeah,
Crazy.
exactly. So let's see. So you're raising 10 million now, on your way to 20 million. And so like, what does that look like? How many? I mean, there's no way of knowing what unit count that is, but what is the like kind of the idea of unit count that you'd end up having?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think we'll end up, raising 20 on this. And I mean, it just depends on like, your average price per pad, but I'm guessing that you're going to be able to buy, let's just say conservatively, probably 50 million bucks worth of stuff, give or take. And
Yeah,
then let's just say and pray that you're able to keep a blended basis of 60 grand a pad. Maybe. That's
yeah,
833. It's
yeah.
833 units. So,
The
I know people watching this probably, oh my God, 60 a pad. Holy shit, dude. 60 a pad. Whatever, man. Whatever.
No, I understand.
You
I
understand.
understand.
You get it.
Yeah.
You get it. But that's just the reality of it. Like I'm not buying where there's $175 lot rent. That's not my game.
The the part I love about your deal as well is it's like you can buy, say, a 50 unit park and syndicate it, and then come up with a $40,000 septic tank that you didn't know that would it like you got it inspected, everything's good, and then week or month two you're in, and the septic tank guy is telling you that this tank needs to be
Or
replaced
someone
or the
runs
drain
over
field.
it. Or someone runs over it.
I thankfully, knock on wood, haven't had that yet, but
Yeah.
I have had somebody inspect the tank, tell me it's good. Same guy comes back later and he said, I didn't tell you it was good. These tanks were bad. I told you that they weren't good. I'm like, I have the report right here. You told me they were good. So you end up spending $40,000 on a 50 unit deal, which is kind of, it blows the budget to an extent. I mean, yeah, you can probably have it on the side. But long story short, the thing I like about your deal is that it's like your portfolio is going to be able to weather that storm I mean, I could see it at 800 units. It's like you have a behemoth of revenue, which is not all profit, but it fixes a lot of problems. If there's something that comes up at one of those properties that was a dumpster fire property that you're turning over, it turns into that the revenue from the other parks will fund the things you can't see.
Yeah, yeah, and I like that because like when you have a syndication, like even if you have 20 deals, like you can't pull money from the other deal to pay for the
Exactly.
$40,000 septic issue. You can't do that. Obviously, that's something called fraud. So you can't
Yes.
do that. So yes, the fund gives you more flexibility in a situation like that. And we usually, raise money in a syndication for a lot of CapEx for those exact things. Like I'll bring an extra 50 grand and just hold it for the stuff like you just mentioned, because I've done enough of these deals. I know how it goes.
Yeah.
And so I do that so I can still maintain distributions and I don't have to say, hey guys, we can't send out a distribution this quarter because some jackass ran over the septic. Um, and the reason why I'm talking about that, because I had that happen. But the fund, sort of it prevents that to a degree. Now, none of us, no one likes, $50,000 CapEx issues. But unfortunately they do happen no matter how much inspection you do. I mean, even if you have 100 unit park and there's 70 septic tanks, you going to go in and pump them all in due diligence?
Yeah.
You're not going
No.
to.
No.
You're not going to. Like it's not feasible, right? But you're going to go, like what I do is I go around, hey, the grass looks a little greener over here. Let's pump this one, or it's
Take the dirt, swish it around in your mouth.
what's that?
Put the dirt in your mouth, swish it around,
Yeah,
spit
yeah,
it out.
yeah. Pump here, pump here.
Pump this one. I think this is the one we need to
Yeah,
inspect.
this is the one, right? This is the one. But you can go around and look for stuff like that. You can look for maybe where the ground's a little bit more damp, and then you pump those and figure those out,
Yeah.
or ask the tenants if they don't lie to you, or the property manager if they don't lie to you. Um, just always remember to take that stuff with a grain of salt, and you got to ask them like 5 different ways to get the real answer.
Yeah.
Anyways, back to your question. Yes, the fund does help prevent some of that because it's a blended sort of loss and it doesn't completely kill your return.
But also along with what you were saying, I think you did kind of say it as well. Like you're not having to, like when you buy a park, you don't have to, you're sharing the reserve fund of all the parks together. So you're not really having to, cost per lot actually goes down because you're able to share the reserve. You don't have to put up as much CapEx
Correct.
to weather that storm as well.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm glad you brought that back up because that was one point I was trying to get to there is that instead of bringing on a $5 million deal, I got to bring 2.5 million or
Yeah.
2.2, 2.3. Maybe that's less because that's blended throughout all the deals. And I can bring closer to just whatever the down payment is plus, closing costs and things like that.
The person that actually gets hurt, I've not heard, but like the person that is affected the most with the fund is that the actual operator, because you have to really execute it on the whole portfolio compared to having a few deals that make some money and some windfalls. It's like you don't really start making money as the operator until the very tail end of the fund, because of the execution of all of them have to come together at the end. But obviously, it'll turn out ideally very good,
Yeah.
with all the if everything goes well. But what I'm saying is just like those first parks, you won't see the operator won't really receive the full benefit of the fund until the last park is really purchased.
Yeah, yeah, correct. And so the last one's purchased, and the turnaround project is done, and you're
Yes.
stabilized, and then you have options which you can do. You can start refining stuff. Then there's different things that you can do to kind of pull your upside because as an operator, you should, especially in mobile home parks, like if you're operating like Class A apartments, like you don't do anything. You have a third party management company. Like in parks, there's so much more to it, and we do a lot of work. And you explain this to investors, but like investors that are they don't understand that the work that goes into it. And it's like a very specialized skill to buy the kind of parks that you and I buy and to go in and do it effectively. Not anybody can do that, right? Not everybody can do that well.
Nope, not many people want to do that.
Well, sure. Yeah. I mean, I think there's definitely some of that because people are just lazy.
Willing to do the work. They're not that they might say they want to do it, but willing to do the work, deal with the craziness, then moving forward and then try to put a system in place to not have that problem happen again.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like, yes, the fund is going to charge fees. The management company is going to charge fees. Like, what do you expect?
Yeah.
Like, it takes, like, you should see the stuff that we deal with, Mr. Investor. Like, take a look at this, right? It's a pain in the rear, and to do it right, and it does take a specific kind of person. So it's like, hey, we're going to do everything we can to kind of make it profitable as soon as we can.
Definitely. All right. So where can people find you?
Everywhere, man. You can find me anywhere. Like, so anywhere on social media, you can Derek Vickers 885, YouTube. I have the MHP Show podcast. Doing an episode every week. If you join my Facebook group, Mobile Home Park Investing Pros, I do a 30-minute Q&A every Friday. So if you check that out, you ask me anything for 30 minutes. I always end up staying on there longer because I just love talking about this stuff. But, typically I like to cap it at 30 minutes. Probably should only cap it for 30 minutes. And if you're in Orlando, maybe we could meet. Would love to meet you. Reach out to me on social media. And also, too, one thing, Glenn, if you want to learn more about the fund, you can go to vicktorycapital.com. That's Vicktory, Vicktory capital.com. And check us out, man. You can book a call. Would love to, tell you a little bit more about what we're doing if you're an accredited investor.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Cool. Thanks, Glenn.
Thank you for listening to the Millionaire Journey podcast. Please rate, like, subscribe, leave a comment, and share with somebody you think would enjoy listening.